What's an American issue you are too European to understand? Why pay for the bigger soda cup if there are free refills for the small? McDonald's actually charges the same price for any size. So you might as well get the big one for when you leave. Is this real? Asking the real questions over here. Because refills require you to leave your seat. And that is inefficient for maximizing net liquid calorie intake. So you can take more soda with you when you leave. We do a lot more eating, drinking on the go than in Europe. That shocked me when I visited. In England it's seen as common to eat in the street. We booked a fancy hotel room and got to-go coffee cups instead of china. I was honestly taken aback. Why do you only have two political parties in power that alternate each other? Looks nervously in UK. Problem in the UK is we are moving away from a two-party state. And clearly ill-equipped to handle that. First past the post voting system generally means unless you vote for a party that has an actual chance at winning, you basically just lose your vote. Or, worse, indirectly benefit the major party which is least similar to the third party you voted for. Those two parties have become so entrenched they control candidates, debates, news and polls. It's all but impossible for a third party to be elected to higher office than congressman. Wait until you realize the Commission on Presidential Debates, the body that more or less controls the debate, is run under joint sponsorship by Republican Party and Democratic Party. Because they clearly don't have any reason to play favorites. Why does Ross, the largest friend, not simply eat the other friends? It is true what they say. Americans are from Omicron Persei 7. Europeans are from Omicron Persei 9. To an American, a galactic year is old. To a European, a billion parsecs is far. Why do you pay the taxes yourself? It's way easier to have it done for you by your state, country, since you have to pay anyway. Tax companies lobbied the government so that the IRS department in charge of taxes cannot do them for us. Which you have to imagine is the easiest lobbying of all time. Hey Gov, instead of you paying employees and systems to auto-file everyone's taxes, why don't you just not, and then they can pay us to do it, and if they get it wrong you can fine or jail them. Free labor or a paycheck win-win. The people who make tax software have surprising levels of political influence. As always in America, the answer is because our corporate overlords say so. I'm surprised nobody has mentioned the prison population. Punishment is the mindset of the prison system. The threat of prison time is supposed to stop people from committing crime. And treats it as solely a voluntary choice by someone who intends to harm another or society. The logic therefore means rehabilitation is useless. And harsh consequences have to be used to prevent crime. This reflects the idea of personal responsibility in all areas of life, which is a major tenet of modern American philosophy. The end result is high recidivism of criminal by circumstances, lack of treatment of mentally ill criminals, and continuing support of mandatory minimum sentences as well as execution. I agree. It's the idea to isolate crimes from the environment. In order to heal you have to see both personal responsibility and community responsibility. IMO. One without the other never will work. Instead of treating illegal drug addiction like the medical issue that it is, our government seems to think that locking drug offenders up for 30 years on the taxpayer's dime is a better solution. ISPs actually having data caps on wired connections in 2019. It's only in some states. But why does the cap to exist to begin with? We existed without it perfectly fine beforehand. And now we need one? Bullshit. It's just another way for Comcast to milk more money out of the consumer. Greater than. Why does the cap to exist to begin with? Because many of the telecom companies own or are in bed with media companies, and the majority of consumer applications that use terabytes of data every month are associated with alternative delivery of entertainment media. If you're Time Warner or at DirecTV, you don't want people to cut the cord on your digital media subscriptions. So you impose data caps to make sure that it's painful for the customers that choose not to subscribe to your TV package as well. Drinking at age 21. I mean, for real, I live in Austria and the legal drinking age here is 16. You know what's weird to me? Drinking is 21. Sex is 18, but joining the military is 17. And I believe some states let you drive at 16. Like, pick one. Want a weirder one? In the UK you can have sex at 16 but you can't watch porn till you're 18. Why the Kardashians are even close to popular at all? Don't worry. That confuses us Americans also. Agreed. Celebrity culture in general makes zero sense to a lot of us. They're really not. I've lived in America my whole life. And I've never met anyone who gave two shits what they were up to. Not a lot of people actually like them. And even fewer idolize them the way you'd think. There are a lot more people who complain about their fame. And that's what keeps them famous and relevant. Comments asking why the famous are keeping them in the public eye. People who click that article and say, "Why do people care about this crap?" are the ones who are actually clicking the article and caring about that crap. People literally dying because they cannot afford to pay for their insulin anymore. True story. I'm insulin dependent. And if I didn't have insurance, I definitely wouldn't be able to pay $400 for 15 days worth of insulin. And from what I hear, it isn't entirely uncommon for some insurances to try and fight people on insulin. A country where you can make a compelling story about a chemistry teacher working two jobs who feels the need to get into the fucking drug business after finding out he has cancer. Your bathrooms. What idiot thought it was okay to have very small doors with gaps on all sides in every stall? How are you supposed to quietly poop and stink and fart without everyone seeing you? I can understand why you are so afraid of unisex bathrooms. It's so you can see criminals coming so you can shoot them with your gun. Pew pew poo poo pew pew. I'm still baffled by it too. I've lived in the US for 30+ years and I still don't understand the fraternity-sorority system. I was in one and I still don't understand. Showing prices before tax like my dudes. It looks cheaper but it ain't. Ijimang idgi. I'm Canadian and when I visited Europe one of my first purchases was like $4.99 and when the cashier scanned it and said, "That comes to $4.99, I was like surprised Pikachu face, wait what? But I've acquired this useless skill of calculating 13% on everything. School debts. A lot of this had to do with the federal government getting into the student loan business. They will basically give a loan to anyone with a pulse, regardless of what they're majoring in or how long they're going to school for. In turn, colleges raised their tuition costs because they knew that the government would foot the bill. Before the government got involved, college was actually affordable. See, that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Here in Australia we have no-interest HECS loans where the government upfronts the cost to the university and you pay back the government. So why isn't the same debt happening here? Could it be that treating educational institutions like a business in a free market doesn't lead to the best economic developments? Drinking tap water. I'm used to drinking tap water all day. I never buy water since it's the same as tap water. American here. I grew up on well water. I love water out of the faucet. I don't buy water bottles either. Everyone does seem to have a Brita filter or some sorts or filter water from their fridge. With the exception of a few places, Flint, the water out of the tap is drinkable. But in some places the water is particularly hard and adds a taste some people don't like. Like me, or they just want cold water. That whole pledging allegiance to the flag thing? That's just so weird to us. If Germany started doing it, everyone would be shitting their pants. Ah shit, here we go again. Poland. As I've not seen it yet. Tipping culture. It's insane to me that in America, you're some social pariah for not giving a tip. Because the workers need it to live but haven't thought, instead of giving them bonuses. Why don't we have a system where they're paid a fair wage by the bosses? I mean, here in the UK we tip. But it's usually around 10% for very good service. In America it seems like 20% is the default for anything, and you have to do it or you can't afford to eat out. Which to me means it isn't a tip. There have been restaurants that have eliminated tipping in the US. They tend to lose a lot of servers. Switching away from tipping culture will definitely have winners and losers. I still think we should. But some people make way more with tipping culture than they would without it. Greater than instead of giving them bonuses. Why don't we have a system where they're paid a fair wage by the bosses? The strongest proponents I've seen for tipping are servers. Many make more money this way. The double moral when it comes to sex and sexuality. A lot of us Americans don't understand this situation either. Lol, I love this thread. Non-American, I don't get this thing about America. What the hell? American, we don't get it either. Non-American, oh. Why are we yelling then? Did you mean double standard?